just a conversation.
Sounds good.
Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to day 1111 of, of lives in a row, continual lives in a row. In fact, I just got asked, have I ever taken a break from doing a live? I said no. I said, even when I was staying in the back of, and beyond the back of beyond, where we had no cell phone service and no Wi-Fi service, I still taped my live at 8 p.m. Pacific time when I was doing them at that time. And as soon as we got cell phone service the next day, we uploaded it. And that was one of my rules with traveling in an RV. You never know if you're going to get full service or not with cell phones and Wi-Fi. So, but anyway, we're not here to talk about that. Well, actually, we kind of are, because it's the Before the Dirt Nap podcast. So welcome. And tonight I get to bring on a very special guest, Barnum, who is known as the King of Referrals and is the CEO of HOA.com. And I got to tell you, this is like an awesome referral network for home service professionals. If you haven't checked that out yet, it is amazing. After closing over $500 million in referred transactions, Brandon wrote the book Raving Referrals, and I'm still reading it, but it's a really good book so far, and has founded multiple local and online referral platforms and networks connecting more than 5 million members in over 190 countries. Man, I thought doing Facebook Lives every day for 3 years was impressive. That is even more impressive. Brandon is passionate about empowering loan officers and other business professionals with a step-by-step system for attracting profitable prospects. Brandon, welcome to tonight's Before the Dirt Nap podcast. It is awesome to have you here.
Thank you, Helen. It's my pleasure. Appreciate the invitation.
Oh, excellent. Now I have to ask you, your last name is Barnum. Any relation to P.T. Barnum of the Barnum Circuses?
Oh, you know what? I grew up with my grandmother telling me that he was my great, 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 great uncle, right? And so I would go to the circus, I'd ride the elephants, I'd feel like, hey, thank you for coming out to my party, right? And then in my 30s, I was going to share that story on stage, and I decided that I better do the genealogical research before I did. It turns out not so much, right? So totally in my spirit, not in my blood. But I love The Greatest Showman. What an amazing movie and soundtrack that was, huh?
Oh my gosh, I absolutely adore that movie.
Like anytime you need to feel up, go listen to that soundtrack.
Yeah, I can't stay sitting still when I'm watching that thing. The music starts, I'm up. I got to be moving with them. It is, and belting out. I'm not sure what the neighbors think, because in an RV, there's not a lot of insulation. So sound travels through the walls very easily. So I don't know what my neighbors think of my singing abilities when it comes to watching musicals.
Entertainment that knows no bounds.
Oh, of course. I mean, I'm somebody who'll walk along outside when it's pouring down with rain, and I'll be dancing as I'm walking along. I may have an audio book playing, but there's music also playing, and we're just dancing in the rain. And my poor dog is like walking like, it's wet. I'm getting wet.
You know, I love that, Helen. I listen to music all the time, right? Like hours a day, honestly, because it just feeds my spirit and feeds my soul. And I love stuff that makes me feel good, right?
Yes.
And people should be walking around with the soundtrack of their lives. As I was thinking about your topic here, I'm thinking, what do I want to share? If there's one message, it's life by design, not by default. A lot of people just go through their days and they don't have a plan, right? But when you live life by design and you're intentional and you know exactly the experience that you're after, you find that it comes to you much more easily. So,
oh, I love that. I have different playlists based on what mood it's in. If I'm trying to concentrate on something, I've got classical music playing. If I'm on a plane and I'm flying anywhere, I have El Devo playing, and I have a physical book in my hand, and it has to be fiction. There's just certain things you got to do to certain things. And if I'm just whatever I feel like during the day, soundtracks, it's movie soundtracks, it's country, it's pop, it's whatever. But yeah, if there's certain tasks I'm doing, like the poor dog doesn't know what happens when the vacuum cleaner goes on. We're having to do the housework. You got to make housework fun. I hate doing housework, and that's one way I can make it fun.
There you go. You know what? You got to find your groove and enjoy life. Just dance through it.
I'm actually trying to look for a theme song for the podcast. So if anybody comes up with any ideas, I'm open to listening.
This is the Before the Dirt Nap one, huh?
Yeah, Before the Dirt Nap. Live your best life now.
That's going to require some serious creativity there.
Well, it's all about living your best life. Today I got to watch a webinar about doing space travel in a capsule that's suspended from a space balloon. I didn't even know space balloons existed till today, and I heard about that, and I was like, oh my gosh, can you imagine going up in that? And you leave like early in the morning. They have like this whole process over several days because you've got to allow for weather changes and all that sort of thing too, and everything's dependent on the weather. And but you get to spend 2 hours up in space. It takes 2 hours to get there, 2 hours while you're up there, and then 2 hours back down again. And they're saying that in the like this was it the other two that got up there, Virgin Galactic,
Yeah.
and what's the other one? When they go up there, they're only up there for like 3 to 15 minutes, and then before they're coming back down again. This one you get to spend 2 hours up there.
Wow. How cool would that be? That's a
Oh,
sight
that's
to
awesome.
behold.
Yeah, and they launched Q4 of 2024, and they've already sold out of those ones in 2024. Most of 2025 is sold out. They're
What's the
selling
price tag, Helen?
$125,000 per person.
Wow. For a 6-hour experience. There you go.
But it's not just that experience. It's the days beforehand because they're going to Cape Kennedy and getting to look around the all the stuff that they have there at Cape Kennedy. There's a whole bunch of stuff they're going to be doing a few days beforehand, and there's an experience after you touch down as well, because when you actually do a splashdown,
Yeah.
and they lift the capsule up, put it onto the ship, and then they open the doors and you just walk out like
It's like I Dream of Jeannie all over again. I remember that. That was fantastic. And if you've never been to to Kennedy out there, it's incredible, to see all of the museum and see the different engines from the past. It's
Mhm.
incredible. And just imagine what it took to make that happen.
My late husband got to do it with the company he worked with. They actually did a behind the scenes tour at Cape Kennedy, and I always remember, and forever sitting in our bathroom was this rock that one of the space shuttles had actually rolled over to get to the launching pad. So they got taken out to the launching pad for the space shuttles and stuff. And this is when they were still flying the space shuttles. And that rock eventually split into two. So I still have those two pieces that he brought back because he was really into his space stuff. I mean, Star Trek,
Isn't that cool?
Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
I would always get them confused.
Oh,
I'd
I
look
tell
for
you
them,
what,
they got straightened out.
You're talking Star Wars. I have to show you a photo. My wife was in Vegas this last weekend, and she was on booth duty for her company, and literally they had the force out.
How awesome is
Isn't that
that?
cool?
That
She
is
said
so
they had
cool.
this whole show. They were basically crowd gatherers. So they had this whole act where they would talk about this battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and then the whole thing would bring everybody back to their booth. I'm like, that is so smart. And then they gave away lightsabers as gifts.
That is so cool. That is I absolutely love that idea. I mean, being that because I remember working in trade shows and stuff, and we would have people standing out in the aisles to like feed people into the booth and that sort of thing. But that is brilliant. That is
Isn't that cool?
brilliant.
Especially for a technology conference. I mean, it was
Oh yeah,
literally called Black Hat. That was the name of the conference. So
yeah.
super
Darth
cool.
Vader's hat is definitely black.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
But that's awesome. So one of the other ones I wanted to talk to you about too was that you use in your business with HOA.com, you guys work with a system called Bank.
Yep.
And so tell us a little more about that because a lot of people aren't going to know Bank, but I can tell you right now. And mine is NAKB, and I have to remember the letters. The only way I remember my letters is I think of naked.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
For some reason, whenever I see my letters out there, it reminds me of naked.
There's your code right there.
That
Yeah.
is my code.
You and I are real close because that's mine.
Okay.
So what Bank is a personality system. You've heard of DISC and Myers-Briggs and others. What I love about Bank is that you can actually use this in the real world. Like if I go to an event and I meet somebody for the first time, I'll say, hey, would you do me a favor? Read the information on these 4 cards and then sort them in order of what's most like you to least like you. That will help me serve you better and save us both time. And it takes them about 60 seconds, and they read the cards and then they do what you did, right? They put them in the order that's true for them. And then when they hand them back after that 1 minute, I usually take like 2 more minutes to tell them who they've just told me they are. Okay. So for you, you're high nurturing first and foremost. It's all about the people, the purpose, the cause, the charity, right? You're not going to do something that isn't good for people. That wouldn't be in integrity, and your spirit wouldn't allow it,
Correct.
right?
Absolutely.
Now, you also are going to take action. And this is, I should have shown that card a little better, right? So that's the relationships, authenticity. That's the nurturing card. And you know, these are the bright, shiny people that are smiling all the time, like me. I can't take the smile off every
We
time
just
I see
sparkle.
you. You're
We just
smiling,
sparkle.
Helen. I love it.
Yeah.
You smile and sparkle. That's right. Yes, you do. So for the action people, these are the people that want everybody's attention, right? They want to be on the red carpet. They want everybody looking at them. They want to win big fast, and they wear the name brand clothes and, drive everything. These are the intuitive codes, right?
Yep.
Whereas the next ones, in your case, your third one is called knowledge, because you're about all the information, right? You want to
I love.
understand how things work, don't you?
Yeah, and it's got in there research and development. Research definitely comes in when you're doing genealogy and learning, people learning history and things like that. But again, when you take that and you put it back to the nurturing side, it's all about relationships.
Exactly. Totally. You get it because you're high nurturing. Some people aren't as nurturing. They're not people, especially the knowledge and then also the blueprint, the folks that they want to paint inside the lines, right? They love stability, structure, planning, process. They're all about predictability, right? These are the people that make incredible workers for those of us that run companies. This is who we want to hire. This is my wife. She's so dependable. She takes care of everything. And so,
Those are your process people, the ones that like the
yes,
step-by-step process. You start at step one and do. Me, I'm just like,
exactly.
show me how it works, let me work it, and then let me go play.
You got it. You got it. So we use this to help people understand each other better. It's also used in sales. I was just on a call before this with a former financial advisor who was telling me how he had almost lost $1 million case until he realized that while the husband was all in, the husband's like, yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. The financial advisor kept meeting with the woman, them both, and the wife was like hitting the brakes. There we go,
Yep.
because she needed all of the information to make an informed and wise decision. So she's the thoughtful, methodical, while her husband is the let's go get it done, right? And so
That was my husband and I. I was red
was
and
it?
yellow. He was green and blue. He was a software architect, so he was very linear and things had to make sense. And we had him doing Reiki one time during his cancer thing. He could, and I said to the woman who the Reiki master who worked on me, I said, "Watch this." She said, "What's that?" I said, "My husband's going to come over here, and I'm going to ask him how it was, and he's going to go, I'm going to have to think about it, and then he's going to want to come back again because he doesn't understand what happened the first time." So Brad comes over, and I go, "How was that?" And he goes, "I'm going to have to think about it." And the Reiki master just cracked up laughing. And I said, "Well," and he goes, "I've got to come back." And he says, "Can we come back again?" I went, "Absolutely." And the poor Reiki master was just about on the floor because I knew my husband so well with
That's awesome.
his logical reasonings on things.
Right?
So yeah.
And you complimented. They say that oppositions both attract,
Yep.
opposites attract, and they also attack, and that happens. For my mom, this is her code, right? Knowledge blueprint. So just like you said, in our family, she's famous for saying, "I've been thinking about that," because she won't take any action. Okay.
Yeah.
She just won't take action. So she'll sit there, and I just met with her the other night, and it had been a week, and the last time we met, she told me all these things that she was going to do. And so I said, "Hey mom, which of those things did you do? One, like, what was the one thing that you did? Oh no, I didn't
I
do
gotta
that,
think about that.
but I've been thinking about it." Right? So it's good to think about it, especially those people who are engineers and
Mm-hmm.
scientists making the rockets work and the balloon be able to
Yep.
provide oxygen that far up, right? But at some
Yes.
point, you got to take action. And
Yeah.
that's this word action is in the law of attraction, right? So you can't have
Yes.
attraction without action.
Action. I love that. Attraction without action. I love that. That's awesome. Those puppies barking in the background, is it?
Yeah, sorry, my wife is at the store, and so they're downstairs and freaking out.
Oh, that's okay. We all have. My puppy's completely confused. I gave her a piece of rawhide today to chomp on, and she's walking around with it like, I don't know what to do with this. So she brings, anytime she gets a chew that I give her that's going to take a while, she'll
Yeah.
like start on it, and then she brings it over to me to look after. And I've usually got to tuck it down by my leg here on the seat, and then she'll wander away, and then she'll come back like 15, 20 minutes later and check on it, and then wander off. And I went to have a nap after work this afternoon, just a quick nap, and she sits up on the bed and she looks over me to where my side table is, and she's looking, and her little nose is wiggling. And then she realizes that her chew is not there, so she comes out and gets it and brings it to me. Like, you left it alone. I gave it to you to take care of.
Oh, puppies are funny. We have 3 different dogs, and each of them have completely different personalities.
I wonder if you could bank a dog.
Yeah, we've talked about it. I don't know what that is, but I mean, we have a pug that's 100% action. I mean, she is so spastic, like she just runs around and wants a treat, right? And she's just crazy. And that's who you heard, because she's got to bark at everything and create all this nervous energy. So she's definitely high action. After that, she's nurturing because she wants to love and lick, and I think most dogs are. But I don't know. I don't think it's quite the same. This whole system, though, is fascinating, and I'll tell you what, it really changed my relationship with my daughter, because my
Oh,
daughter and I are opposite codes. And
okay.
I grew up with this little girl that would sit in my lap and love me and be that little daddy's girl. But then as she became a teenager and she grew into what, she's a scientist, so she's actually studying at Texas A&M, is
Oh,
studying
nice.
neuroscience. She wants to be a neurosurgeon, right?
Excellent.
So the way she approaches things and has conversations, completely opposite of me. And nurturing is her last, where it's my first. So I'll make a statement that's positive and 99% true, but if it's not 100% true, she's going to nail me on the 1% that's different, right? And
That's
so
interesting.
you can't use the word always or never, because that's, if you say it's always true, well, that's not always true. And if you say that's never true, well, that's
Oh,
not
that's not
always
true
true either.
either.
So I've had to, once I understood her bank code, it completely shifted how I thought about her, because I was feeling judged and like critiqued all the time. And maybe that was just the teenage girl in her.
Hmm.
But the reality is, once I understood her code, I related to her differently. It changed how I communicated to her, and that brought her closer to me rather than repelling her away from me, which is what I had been doing.
So when you use the bank codes, because I noticed this, that when I signed up for HOA,
Yeah,
is is one of the first things that you asked me was, do I know what my bank code is?
right.
And I noticed that on my profile, it's actually up there in the top corner. So
Mhm.
whoever comes in and assists me whenever I'm talking with anybody on Zoom from HOA, they've got it right there in the corner. How valuable has that become for you guys at HOA for talking to the clients and the professionals that are in the HOA community?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge both internally and then externally. What I mean by that is, internally is just to create the communication and the language that lives within our culture. People understand what you mean if you say you're being so blueprint right now. And it's with respect, quite frankly, because those are the people that plan all the processes and the steps that ensure that everything operates optimally, right?
Yes.
So we love the code, and we have learned to not get irritated by the other people that are different than we are, right? They're strong where we're weak, and oftentimes they irritate, especially like the action and blueprint. These two don't always get along, because this is usually start and this usually means stop, right? And sometimes you'll get somebody that actually has like an action blueprint code, and they're start stop start stop start stop. And so it's interesting to see, but externally, it absolutely helps us to serve our clients better and give them information in a way that makes the most sense for them the fastest.
Hmm. That's awesome. I absolutely love that. And I just loved how when I got to talk with Allie, when we're getting all my account and everything set up,
Yeah.
about how she was talking my language. But then I noticed that her first one isn't Nen as well. So I can't remember the rest of her letters, but I know she was a nurturer as well. I think we were almost the same.
She's NBAK,
NB. Okay. So yeah, yeah. So A is her
yeah,
last one then.
which is a great
No, it was
code
Emmy.
person.
It was Emmy. When I was talking with Emmy, we are
Yeah.
exactly the same.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, Emmy and I are the same, so we get on like a house on fire.
Well, I
But
hope
I
there's
got,
a
but
house
I
on
still
fire,
got
but I know
on.
what you mean.
I still got on really, really well with Allie, even though
Yeah,
she had that B as her second one, and that's my last one.
yeah,
But we
yeah.
both had that nurturing thing, which we communicated, and that's the level we communicated at.
That's
So,
awesome.
and then she had
And
the processes there to help me get everything set up, and of course the action taker came and says, "All right, let's get this done."
boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
You know, it's so interesting, especially in sales, because it's almost 50-50 as far as the people that are the introverts versus the extroverts, because these cards kind of correlate to that, right? And it's really important if you have clients that are blueprint or knowledge, it's really important that you take the time to give them the information that they need, right? Those
Mm-hmm.
of us that are high in action, we want to net it out quick. We want to get to the finish line and win big fast. Those who are higher blueprint and knowledge, they need time to think about it. We say that for a knowledge personality type, it takes them a time that starts with a number 4. It's forever. And you don't ever try and close them. You don't pressure them to make a sale. What you do is you continually follow up and say, is there any more information that I can give you so that you have what you need to make a wise and informed decision?
Yep.
And they love that. And the fact that you respect them enough to treat them the way they want to be treated, right? The platinum rule is not do unto others how they want to be, or how, do unto others as you have others do unto you,
Yep.
right? It's not about you at all. It's really about them. Do unto others as they'd have you do to them. So,
Well, now I'm going to throw a spanner in your works because I'm actually an outgoing introvert.
okay.
So that kind of, yeah, I'm an outgoing introvert. I
Yeah.
was, yeah, my husband kept saying, you're being so extrovert. And I says, no, it's how you charge your batteries. I've got to have that alone
Mm,
time to charge,
yeah.
because in a room full of people, I will tire very quickly. That's why I love Zoom so much, because I can keep going. But you get me in a live room with a whole bunch of people, and like at the end of like a 6-hour mastermind group, I am like done. I just want to go. If we're in a hotel, I just want to go upstairs and go to sleep.
Isn't
Um,
that interesting? Is it because you don't radiate the same level of energy on Zoom? Are you able to hold back a little bit and not be full force? Or what do you think the change is?
I think it's because when you're present with other people, you're feeding off their energy and they're feeding off yours, and I haven't learned how to protect my energy field.
Aha. Aha.
So
Okay.
I'm giving out that energy all the time, but because when you're on Zoom, I can still be as energetic as I am in person, but
Yeah.
they're not pulling it from me like they would if they were in person.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm still exerting the same amount of energy I would in a room full of people,
Yeah.
but I'm not expending it as I would if I was in a room full of people.
Fascinating. I heard one woman recently, she was telling her husband, she said, I describe it this way. And she was a BK, because we call that a
Mhm.
buzzkill, because sometimes people can that with that code can kind of be a buzzkill. And I told her this, right? And her cards, she was a BKAN. And so I said that to her. I showed her the card. She said, I am such a buzzkill. That is exactly who I am. And I went, okay. She
So
wasn't
she's the
offended.
exact opposite of me.
Exact opposite, right? And so
Yeah.
what she said was, she said, I told my husband the other day, sorry, boyfriend the other day, she said, I wake up and it's like I have $100 and I go out in the world and I have conversations and each one costs me money. And at the end of
Hmm.
the day, I have no money left. I'm like you're saying, completely
Yep.
spent. Except you're so outgoing naturally that you start out with no money. And then by the end of every conversation, it's like you're getting charged, you're getting paid. And so by the end of the day, you have $100 where I have zero. Does that
I
seem
was
true
I
to
would
you?
still I would still give it out, because being an extrovert has to be in a room full of people to
Yeah.
recharge their batteries. And
Yeah.
whereas
Right.
my batteries get drained.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love being with extroverts, because no, actually, I don't like being with extroverts in a room full of people, because they kind of feed off me, because I'm the energy that they need to energize themselves. So they
Well,
would
they
be,
tend to be more exciting and fun overall, but no
yeah.
judgment to the blueprints and knowledge. They're typically witty and smart and hilarious, right? Like
Oh,
you think
absolutely.
you think about some of the most funny comedians that are out there, and they're all high knowledge. And so, anyway, it's just fun to see how the codes play out in the real world.
It's a fascinating thing to look at. And if anybody wants to check out their to see what their bank code is, Brandon's given us the link of knowyourcode.us, and it is in the description of the video here of the podcast. So please go check that out. Figure out what you are. Let us know. Let us know in the comments what you end up being as far as your bank code goes, because it is fascinating. And when you are trying to live your best life now, we know the people that are going to go after their best life now. It's going to be the action takers. It's going to be the blueprints once they get it all figured out. But the knowledge people, you guys are going to keep figuring it out for a long time.
Well, too, and for those that have teams, I tell people, start thinking about who your parents are. What was your parents' code, right? What your siblings, your kids, not to mention your coworkers, your employees. And it's like you have a pair of glasses on where suddenly you can see the world and you know exactly who somebody is. And without that, you can't see it because every single person on the planet has a bank code.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, what is yours?
That is a very good question. Oh, Brandon, we're at the bottom of the hour. I can't believe this time is just flowing by. It's been awesome having you on. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and help us live our best life now through personality.
It's my pleasure. Such fun. You guys go out there, live life by design, figure out your code, and it will unlock secrets that will amaze you throughout your life.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And for everybody, thank you for tuning in with us this evening. And I hope you enjoyed our conversation that we had on circuses all the way through to your bank code. That's
this
a
whole
big
conversation
wide
was
gamut
a circus.
Sorry?
This whole conversation was a circus.
There you go. We're
so
channeling that non-relative of yours.
Thank you, Helen. So sparkly.
Thank you. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. He konara.